It's the LA Football Podcast.
Touchdown Ram! Recovered by the Chargers. Touchdown UCLA!
With USC great and NFL stud, Frostee Rucker.
The Trojans back in front.
And LAFB founder Ryan Dyrud on the Bleav Podcast Network and LAFBnetwork.com. This is your destination for Los Angeles football.
What's up, Los Angeles, and welcome back to another episode of the LA Football Podcast here on the Bleav Podcast Network, also on LAFBnetwork.com, your destination for Los Angeles football. I'm your co-host, Ryan Dyrud, joined as always by my man, Frostee Rucker. Frost, what's going on?
LA, what's poppin'?
It's hot. That's what's popping. It's hot.
The temperature gauge.
Yeah, real hot. Another heat wave out here in Los Angeles. But speaking of heat wave, we got a hot episode for you. See what I did there? That was just all on the cuff. But we got a great guest this episode that we kind of teased it last week. That's going to help us bring some insight to you when it comes to Pac-12 and college football. But Frost, I'll let you give the introduction.
Yeah, we went through the phone book on this one. I had to do this one. I got Coach Keary Colbert, the wide receivers coach for the USC Trojans, an ex-USC Trojan, known for unbelievable catches, hard work, and leadership. And now he's leading the wide receiver group for the USC Trojans, which obviously is the best wide receivers group in the country. And I'm just happy and fortunate that he answered the call and he got on with us.
Yeah, a lot of fun, awesome guy, tons of knowledge. What he's doing at USC with that receiving room, I think is so underrated somehow. Take nothing away from LSU, what their receiving core did, but the fact that USC's big 3/big 4 with Drake London, who we'll talk about in the interview, was not even talked about very much. I know Michael Pittman was a Biletnikoff finalist, but outside him, there was really not a national attention around this group. But what Coach Colbert's doing, what Graham Harrell, what Clay Helton are doing with this program and with this specific group, it's impressive. It's fun to watch. And I just couldn't be more thrilled that you went through the phone book and got him to come on so we could talk my favorite position, primetime, showtime, the wide receiver position.
Yeah, you should wear your high school jersey for this one.
Yeah, maybe I need to dig that out. My Letterman jacket has like one letter on it. That's it. One varsity letter. Yeah, right. I think it has my name and the MV for my high school logos. I think I have like a hockey letter and that's it. So
that's awesome. But you guys stay tuned. We got one of the best shows ever at the LA Football Podcast. Yo, KC, Coach Keary Colbert, good to have you on finally on the LA podcast. What's going on, man?
Nothing much. I appreciate you guys having me on. Just got out here to a training session with our team. So we're just continue to train and work and be ready for whenever they let us play.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Like, what is the protocol now that they push the season back? What are you guys doing to, keep the guys going?
Yeah, so Coach Helton has a great plan kind of set out for the guys. One that entails almost like a mini camp feel for NFL as far as like getting some field work in, some light drill work, kind of like more of a walkthrough type of tempo as far as like plays and stuff like that. And then, of course, we're getting some strength training in. We'll graduate from that. We'll go to like a speed camp, like a speed school. And then we'll graduate from that to almost like combine training and kind of preparing the boys for like a mock combine. And then, again, it's just that's kind of the protocol right now. We're just kind of preparing and just doing a lot of training. How
did obviously the writing was kind of on the wall, but it was obviously super disappointing. But how did the team react when the news finally did break that the season was getting pushed back?
To be honest with you, I think everybody was disappointed. A lot of guys had been putting in a lot of hard work, training, preparing themselves to play. But at the end of the day, we were kind of all in the mindset of, whatever happens is going to happen. It was really out of our control. Coach Helton preached all the time, we're going to control the controllables, which was, how we trained and how we worked out and our effort and our mindset and our mentality. And then finally, once we got the news, just to be honest and frank, I think a lot of guys were disappointed. But at the end of the day, I think, when you look at the overall picture of why, the safety and health of everybody, you have to appreciate that. And, even though we wanted to be out there playing, everybody just wants to be safe as well.
Absolutely. I mean, it was terrible news, you know, as a sitting fan now, I should say, alumni and fan, getting that breaking news all across my phone from, you know, ESPN and Pac-12 and Twitter and all that. You know, it was heartbreaking. You know, like you said, those guys worked so hard and, you know, been put in this uncharted waters for the first time ever. It's unheard of. And I'm glad their attitude is right. And, you know, you guys are doing a great job of, you know, continuing football and keeping them grounded there. So are they in dorms? Like, where are they staying?
Yeah. So, guys, you know, well, actually school started back yesterday. So, our guys they're in dorms. We have some guys obviously in off-campus housing, but the guys have actually been back in dorms for probably about a month or so. And, you know, we're able to get that cleared through the county, through the state, through the school, through the conference, everything. And that's why we've been here training. But obviously it's not a lot of people on campus right now. It's almost like we've created our own bubble per se, you know, like you think about the NBA bubble, you think about the NBA being in a bubble down there in Florida. We've tried to kind of create our own bubble as far as on-campus housing. You know, they're not allowing access to people outside of people on the team into the dorms, you know, so that's a measure and a way to try to keep the guys as safe as possible.
No buns.
None.
No buns, son.
None. It's like training camp, baby. You know what I mean? Unless, you know, you're that dude, man, up in damn Seattle, man, trying to do too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
what was that about?
That's another time for another discussion. But
no doubt.
You know, Casey, I want to talk about your room that you have now. Obviously, Pittman's gone, got drafted to the Colts. Who's the leader now in that room? Who's stepping up and who has been showing out as the number one?
You know, I probably, you know, would say, you know, Amara St. Brown and Tyler Vaughns, you know, they have the most experience. Tyler is the oldest in the room and has played, you know, a good amount of ball here. And then Amara as well, you know, he's going into his true junior year. But those two guys are the ones that, you know, we kind of lean on to be the lead dogs in the room. But, you know, we got a lot of great players, a lot of great guys. They have great chemistry. They gel well together. They push each other. They love one another. You know what I mean? So it's a great room to be associated with.
So we're talking about two receivers there, and obviously you guys run sets of 3 and 4 at times.
Yep.
Who are the sleepers that are going to come in and shock the world? You know, Southern California, LA, all the fans really want to know who those sleepers are that are going to be in 3 and 4 position.
You know, I think the first one that just pops to mind, and I don't think he's a sleeper because of the great year that he had last year. But I would say Drake London is in a position to really excel, you know, with the experience that he had as a freshman last year, and also with Michael Pittman being gone and those opportunities and those footballs, those yards that are left out there with him. I think he's going to have a big-time year. And then after that, there's just a bunch of guys that are just really hungry, humble, and ready to work and ready to kind of fill those shoes. I mean, you know, guys, you got Munir McClain coming off the injury. You got Kyle Ford rehabbing like crazy, who is one of the guys that is kind of going to end up taking advantage of this season being postponed, because now that gives him more time to rehab. You also have John Jackson, who's a guy that can play all across the board. He's very smart. You know what I mean? He's like an extra dang coach on the field. You got Brew McCoy coming, obviously, you know, after being out last year. And then you got Josh Jackson and Gary Bryant, who are both here as midterm enrollees, early enrollees from high school.
Yeah.
So after that point, man, you got a group of dudes that are all kind of different in what they do, but they all have the right mindset and mentality about, you know, working and getting out there and being ready to compete.
That's awesome.
Love it, man. Yeah, I try to say this as much on the show as I can. I played wide receiver in high school, not very well, but I did play it. So it's my favorite position to get into and break down. And Coach, what
There you go.
is it that you do and the USC program does? Because you guys have become wide receiver university as of late with all the guys you just listed. And, you lose someone like Michael Pittman, who is kind of irreplaceable, but at the same time, there's so much talent behind him that in a sense he's not, and they make Keaton Slovis's job that much easier. So what are you able to do in the recruiting and then also on field work do you think maybe specializes in making USC so great at this position?
Well, I think there's a couple things that come because of it. One, there's a long-standing history of great players that have come before all of us, before me, before these guys, and I just think for us, we kind of hold the mentality of we want to uphold the legacy that has been built before us. And in recruiting, it's really easy to sell it. And it's not even a sell, honestly. I don't even like using that word, but it's really hard. I mean, it's really easy to show, all the guys that have come before. And, I just think that, also these guys have a great mentality. You know what I'm saying? They're very, very competitive. They all want to do well. They all want to help us get back to winning a national championship at the end of the day, which is the most important thing. I think all the individual success and all the individual things that come with it are just a byproduct of being a part of a great team. And Frostee knows, and we've both benefited from playing with other great players. But
Right.
you also said another thing. You mentioned the Keaton Slovis. When you have a quarterback like that, that can distribute the football, that is very smart, he has all the intangibles. It makes our jobs easier as wide receivers. You know what I mean? So the one thing that we stress is just being where we're supposed to be when we're supposed to be there and making our plays. At the end of the day, it's like we don't have to try to do too much, and just understand that just in this offense that we're in, we're gonna have opportunities to make really big plays, and then we're also gonna have opportunities to just kind of dink and dunk our way down the field. And so I think our guys understand that, being a part of this offense for a year, and that's just part of being in the system, is that we just have to kind of just make our plays whenever they come.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I mean, watching the team grow last year, like you said, going through people just getting more and more comfortable in that offense. And, they're really hitting strides and making really big plays, bringing games down to the wire, winning close ones. It was remarkable to see, and I think you described it the best. Did you have something, Ryan?
Yeah, no, I just followed because you kind of led into it perfectly, Coach. You when you came back to SC as a coach, you were under T. Martin as your OC, and then now last year with Graham Harrell coming in as a former receiver and coaching receivers. What is it? And you kind of alluded to it with just the diversity, but what do you really like about Harrell's system as it pertains to your receivers and this group that kind of makes them so explosive?
The best thing for me, man, is just the opportunity to catch a lot of footballs. I mean, if you just look statistically at what our guys did last year, we had two guys over 1,000 yards. The third guy had about 900 and something yards and probably could have and should have had 1,000 yards, at the end of the day, if it weren't for a couple games throughout the year where he wasn't playing as much. And then obviously you see what a Drake London did as a freshman, going over 500 yards, having 40-something receptions. I mean, if you just add all those numbers up and the opportunities, I mean, that's one of the biggest things to me that I've never been around. You know what I mean? Like, I come from systems where, you're playing two receivers or three receivers and you got two guys that usually eat, you know what I mean? And when I was in school, it was me and Mike, and then it was Dwayne and Steve. And then it's been Juju and it's been Robert Woods and Marquise Lee. It's been, Nelly
Right.
and
Just a tangent.
and Keese. It's like always been two guys. I think the greatest thing, with Coach Harrell's system is you watch and you see the multitude of players that are able to be a part of the offense and actually contribute on a high level. You know what I'm saying? So that to me is one of the biggest things that when I talk to recruits, and there's a lot of things that, we post on social media and, men, what does Jay-Z say, Frost? Men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
Numbers
What I
don't.
mean? So, a lot of times, man, you look at statistically what we're doing, how many yards we're throwing for, how many different people are touching the football. man, I mean, it's just a great time, in my opinion, to want to be at USC and want to be an offensive skill player.
Yeah, I like to say, we got a lot of new coaches, but for me personally, I'm going to be on a ledge here, but I'm going to speak for myself. Me personally, retaining Graham was one of our best accusations, and giving him a Brinks truck full of money, but keeping him in that system there is only going to do and pay dividends for our school.
No doubt. And just as you're speaking, man, you got Team Texas pulling up right here. You got Graham Harold, John David Baker, Seth Dagey, Coach Mike Jinks, our running back coach, is walking in from work.
Fellas.
So this is the offensive firepower right here. You know what I'm saying?
I see it.
That's a good-looking group right there.
Oh, that's a great-looking group. You know what I mean? And they were just asking this a little interview, and I was just talking about, how I wish I could have played in this system back in my day.
You did pretty well for yourself, though. You did pretty well for yourself.
I don't know. You know what I mean? So, but no, this is the brain trust right here, man. So they all
guys.
get us going, man.
That's good to see. Okay, so we got new coaches on our staff. Obviously, we got new special teams coach. We got a new defensive coordinator, new defensive line coach. Tell us a little bit about each guy, if you can, and what they're bringing to this to the table.
Yeah, I'll start off with special teams. Coach Snyder, he's out here working out right now on the field, running around the field, getting some push-ups in. I just saw him. He comes from Kansas State, obviously having a great career. Obviously, his dad, he comes from a coaching background with his dad being the head coach at K-State. The one thing I'll tell you about Coach Snyder, man, is that, his schemes are really, really simple, and it really allows our players to play fast and do what they do best, is just make plays. You know what I mean? It's not about always, out scheming people. It's just about lining up and, you know what I'm saying, we're going to just put it on the line and say, we're better today. You know what I mean? The one thing I can say about our defensive staff, man, it starts from the top down. Coach Orlando, man, comes with high energy every day. Very aggressive, very detailed, great teacher, great motivator. The dude has so much juice, man. You know what I mean? Frostee Rucker, I like to have a little juice about myself, man. But I'm telling you, Coach Orlando, man, I'd be damn ready to run through the wall, and I'm on the other side of the ball.
We need that. So you're saying we got like a second coming of Ed O.
Oh man, T.O. got juice, bro. T.O. got juice, and then Coach Niver, they come as a package, basically from the last school that they came from, and Coach Niver's in the back end with the safeties, man, and he's another ball of energy. You know what I'm saying? Great coach, great teacher, demands a lot out of his players. And then of course, we got Coach Dante Williams, coaching the corners, man, and trying to make my job a lot more complicated in practice.
That's good.
Which is a great thing, though.
Compete.
You know what I mean? That's
what it's all about.
That's what we're all about, man. We're about competition, trying to practice should be the hardest thing. You know what I'm saying? When we get out there on Saturdays, it should just be fun, and let's just go out there and play. And then Coach Vic So'oto, our D-line coach, man, he comes with the wealth of knowledge and experience. His D-line from the previous place he was at, I think they led the nation in sacks as a group. Obviously, he has playing experience.
This is great.
He looks like the damn best defensive line on our damn team right now. You know what I'm saying? He's just the damn coach. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
good.
He's another California native. So USC means something to him. His family, his bloodline. He's related to Junior Seau. So in the Polynesian community, obviously, that Junior is held very high, as he should be.
Yeah, he's at the standard.
Not only just in their community, but in the USC community, the football community, NFL community. So I think it means a lot to Vic. You know what I'm saying? Because he's representing that in his family, man. So that staff, man, those guys that I just mentioned, man, they bring a lot of juice, man, and a great spark for us, and I think the guys have responded well to the new coaches, and it's a dang shame, man, that one, that we weren't able to have more than just one spring practice or get out there and play this season. But we'll get our opportunity, we'll get our time whenever they allow it, and we'll be ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was one of the biggest things with these new hires was you said it a bunch, the juice, the excitement, and the hype they bring, and I think that's what's kind of been lacking. So there's so much good things I think happening with this USC program. Obviously, I think you can attest to that. But with everything going on, with there not being a season, I know this is above higher powers will decide this if we're able to play in the spring or whatnot. But how you mentioned right in the beginning we started talking how you guys are just in here working, continue to work every day. But how do you maintain players focus because they don't even, who knows if they're going to play in the spring, who knows if some of these guys are going to decide, you know what, I'm just going to go to the draft before we go to the season. So how do you just maintain focus every day, keep sharpening that iron and keep building the blocks to improve this program overall?
At the end of the day, I mean, it's about a mindset, and the mindset is to get better. We focus on the process of getting better. You know what I'm saying? It's all about the journey more so than the result. And the result sometimes is wins and losses and games and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, man, these dudes are all committed to getting better individually, which helps us collectively as a team. And here's the thing, whenever they allow us to play, they're going to allow us to play at some point. We're going to be ready, and that's just the mindset. You know what I'm saying? So I think Coach Helton has done a great job of just helping these guys focus on themselves individually getting better and taking advantage of this time. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times the things that we've been doing, we've been slowing it down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And really working on fundamentals and techniques and really, really being able to kind of dive into the playbook. And Frostee, this, sometimes when you get in camp mode or you're in spring ball, you're in season, things go really, really fast because you're up against a clock. You know what I'm saying? Right. And you got to kind of, I got 10 minutes of individual, I got to kind of fit everything in, or I got, we got 9 on 7 real quick. We got to kind of fit it in. Like right now, we get to actually slow down and teach and kind of like make sure that guys are getting it. You know what I'm saying? If they get something wrong, it's like, no, let's rewind. Let's get it back. Let's do it again. You know what I'm saying? Let's slow it down. There's no rush. You know what I mean? We're not against any clock right now. So I think that's a benefit.
Football. There's always chaos in football, and now it gets to slow down, and it brings the development of the younger guys up to speed that much more.
Exactly.
And that's what I was saying going into the season. Obviously, we have these obstacles, but we're going to gain so much in our program for the longevity of it.
No doubt.
We're going to put a strong base off this. So we're making the most out of it, and that's what seems to hold true listening to you.
Yeah, I like to think of it like a dang incubator. You know what I'm saying? We got these babies in the incubator, and they're in there developing and behind the scenes and getting some great quality reps, and then when it's their time to get out there, they'll be ready. You know what I mean? And that's the type of depth that we want. That's the type of depth that we expect to have. Hopefully, we can get out there soon, and we'll just get to rolling.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. So, Coach, I'm curious, just, moving past that, but looking kind of your past, how often do you show tape of yourself from that Rose Bowl game against Michigan to your guys in the wide receiver room, if ever?
Not very often, to be honest. But, it comes up every now and again, like, I don't know. It might be like SC football page posting something, or it might be, I don't know, somebody – saying that the game was on TV and they whatever. But, I am a football junkie. I hold a lot of old tapes and I keep a lot of stuff. So, there are times when things are shown that are old because they're great teaching tools to learn from. It's not always me, but, there's things that, guys like I played with, like Steve Smith in Carolina, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's Muhsin Muhammad in Carolina. It could be tapes of Jerry Rice that I have from all the way down to Steve Largent. You know what I'm saying? So there is a process of using some old school film, man, to kind of teach these guys what what it looks like and what it should look like, and then really how the game hasn't changed. There's a lot of different training methods, and the game might look a little different, but at the end of the day, man, it's still running, blocking, tackling, and we don't want to overcomplicate things.
Yeah.
I love it, man. Hey, KC, you're a true legend, a true Trojan, one of my favorite all-time people. I'm so fortunate and glad to be alumni with you. You're on the squad with Lenny, one of my favorites, Hayes, You got Claiborne there with you now.
Yep.
And how good does it feel to know the guys that, strapped it on and, put that Trojan on their helmet, they're coaching now and giving back to the program?
Man, that's awesome. And I think, as you know, every time you come out here to Howard Jones Field, there's something about it. It kind of brings you back to, how it was for us as players and what we did on this field as a team. And I think I can speak for those guys and say the same thing. And I think at the end of the day, Coach Claiborne, Coach Vandermeer, Coach Hayes, you got Mike Hutchins, we got a bunch of guys that have played here, Coach Fiane, Talamai Val. I think at the end of the day, we all have a heart for wanting to see this university be great and be as good as maybe teams that we were on or even better. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's not about us. Although we've had, all of us have had decent careers here. It's about trying to help this next generation. And, that's what we're about every single day, man. So we're trying to just inspire these dudes to just be great and not get in their own dang way. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And I think the program's done a good job of not only putting good football coaches, but integrity-filled men on the field that can help these young kids, especially during a time like this, which is one we've never seen before. So hats off to you, Coach. Super excited to see where the program's going from here. Obviously, can't wait for you guys to get back on the field on Saturdays, but we'll be counting down the days for that to actually happen.
No doubt, man. And here you go. I'm going to give you a little sneak peek, man. We got this wideout group about to start working right here, man. So, it's perfect timing. We got some of the boys, man, about to get going. Over there, you got some linemen lifting. I'll try to flip this thing. You got some linebackers and linemen kind of getting a little training session going, man. So, again, we're making the most of our opportunities. Yeah. Obviously, we can't be indoors lifting weights, so we have these makeshift outdoor training stations, and we can come out here and obviously get some field work in, minus the football. But, we're going to take advantage of every opportunity they give us to get out here, man. We're not going to hang our head, and we're just going to fight on like Trojans do.
I love it. Well, KC, stay safe. Keep moving with the purpose, and we'll check back in with you.
All right, brother. Appreciate you guys, and talk to you guys soon.
Hey, thanks, Coach. Really appreciate you. Appreciate it.
All right, no problem. Yep.
All right, huge thanks to Coach Keary Colbert for coming on. Frostee, thanks for setting up. That was a lot of fun. Super insightful. I think one of our better interviews. It really gave an inside look to what the program's going through, because there's a lot of unknown. People know the league shut down, but they don't know that these guys – I personally didn't even know the guys were still out there kind of practicing. So that was a lot of fun.
Absolutely, and that's some of the things that I knew we were going to get. We were going to get that in-depth, close look at what the Trojans are doing to prepare for when they finally get to kick off. Obviously, we knew – it was canceled. We didn't know if they're staying in dorms. We didn't know how they're going about their business. And the amount of knowledge we got from Coach Keary Colbert is just phenomenal. I'm just glad he was able to shed some light and be able to have the time to come on.
Yeah, awesome guy. And, I loved watching his career. I mentioned in the interview, and you guys played together, which is super cool. So how far – do you guys talk pretty often? Like, how many of your former teammates, do you still talk to? Obviously, he's one of them.
Dude, we talk all the time, Ron. Obviously we all got iPhones and we all got all these apps. So there's a whole bunch of group chats going on, and we keep pretty much dialed in on how everyone's doing, everyone's family, and making sure we stay close because, in the past we have lost ex-brothers, and when that happens, when we lose someone, we always tighten our grip and say, we got to stay stronger and, try to plan more family things. And, they've been waiting for me to retire, and now I finally retire, and now COVID happened. So, I haven't been able to be a part of the barbecues and stuff like that they have a tailgate before a game. But that time's going to come. But, there's nothing like being a Trojan, and I'm very fortunate to share that brotherhood and the memories we have. No,
totally. Yeah, it's an amazing brotherhood and family there in any football team, really, any football program, whether it's high school, college, or the pros. So you've got a few of them going for you, a large extended family, if you will. Before we wrap this up, I'm just curious, obviously, no one knows, but just in your own professional opinion, do you think we'll see Pac-12 football in the spring, or do you think it's basically a wash till next fall? Well, maybe not spring, maybe the winter, maybe January, February, they might try to kick off. The interesting part here is how do they go through a season and get ready for, the playoff system that they have? How do you do all, getting ready for a draft or recruiting? Like, that whole backside of it is so confusing Yeah.
I don't see how we can pretty much pin it, but I think football is going to come back and these guys are going to get a senior year.
Yeah. No, I to me, and this is more me just thinking out loud, I haven't really put like pen to paper and drawn a plan out, but I could see, like you said, perhaps coming back in like January. If the NFL draft stays put where it is, end of April, that would give them essentially, if they could do a 2-month season, maybe do a 6 to 8 game season, conference only. So obviously it'll be a shortened season, but you still get to see film on these guys. You finish up in early March into February, and then they still have a month and a half to like go through the actual draft process to prepare for the draft too. So not saying that's going to happen, but I think that makes more sense. Cause yeah, like you said, you can't really have a full 4-month season. And then what do? Push the draft back to July or
no playoff system? How do how do you crown a winner?
Yeah.
And
then you have the fall season starting next year right after that. So
right. And recruiting and all this is coming, because I think in the state of California, their high school sports, they're starting ball back in January. Yeah. So I think, they'll probably go hand in hand with that. And
true.
Again, I want to bring this up. Does the XFL become some type of real gym here that we're all going to have to use? Yeah. And it's not the laughing stock. It's not just an outcast league now. But, before the NFL has just been this big juggernaut. And now does the XFL, take some share in that? Now do they use Canadian football as a real gateway to get to the league? This is an interesting time for professional football.
Yeah, no, the XFL, I'm glad you bring that up because it's something that we'll get into more. We covered it a lot during the season as there was the LA team. No, not really a lot known right now if the 8 markets will remain the same. But like you mentioned, the XFL can totally be this springboard league for these players that maybe lost out on a year in college or players that just want to forego college, make some, some money on the side and then go into the NFL after that. So I think the Rock and his partners were the absolute perfect buyers for this league to put them because of all his, you've watched Ballers. I know it's a show, but you've watched Ballers, right? On HBO?
Yeah, it's pretty much dialed into how they read the script of football.
Exactly. And that's how he's going to run the XFL. He has all the connections in the world. So I think it's an exciting time for football, like you said, and it'll be fascinating to see if they are able to take advantage of this quick turnaround and get the league going again to get some of these players back playing. So it'll be fun to watch. And you mentioned too, high school sports coming back in spring. So weird period right now, but I think next January is going to be high octane, a lot of stuff going on.
A lot of football. So we'll be prepared and ready for all of it here on the LA Football Network.
That's right. So thank you all for tuning in. Big thanks to Coach Colbert for coming on with us. Make sure to subscribe to the show wherever you listen. We're on every platform imaginable. We're on YouTube now, Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, everywhere you listen. We are. Frostee, where can everyone find you on social media and email?
They can find me at The Organic Frost. That's on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And email me at frosteepodcasts@yahoo.com.
There we go. Inundate that mailbox. You can email me at podcast@LAFB Network. Find me at Ryan Dyrud, LAFB. Love to talk LA football with you guys or just chat about anything. Taco Tuesday, like Frost mentioned. We're happy to talk about anything. Last thing, Frost, before we go, you watching Hard Knocks on Tuesday, episode 2?
Oh, absolutely. I'm geared up. I was more concerned with episode 1, thinking I was going to see some conditioning tests, and I completely forgot about COVID for a second. And,
all right.
And it was all COVID.
That's all it was.
I'd like to see what they progress from, but it's going to be more testing and seeing how they can continue is from what I say. Maybe we see some more of McVay's house.
I think that, before we end this quickly, I'm just curious your thoughts on the first episode. My biggest takeaways were McVay's house, unbelievable. Drinking rosé out by his poolside in the pool with a dog. That's like so Sean McVay. Anthony Lynn using a fork with a napkin over it to dab his barbecue. Like the guy can't get a brush for Christmas or something.
Right.
And then I love seeing Justin Herbert look good. Obviously, there's editing there to make it look good, but I think it showed just why he was so highly touted out in the draft, the size, the intangibles, the arm talent. Right. And then we saw a little sneak peek of what the Rams are. It's, first week of camp, but the first 5 guys in the offensive line, that's been a big question mark for the Rams.
Absolutely.
And they kind of showed us a little bit of who, at least right now, is getting the looks with the ones. Those were kind of my biggest takeaways from episode 1.
Absolutely. And I think that McVay's dog is going to be a star before all this is over.
Oh,
he's going to be on Netflix. He's going to be all over the place. He's going to be getting puppy chow endorsements. We'll see. So Hollywood.
There we go. Yeah, he is Mr. Hollywood. So, well, episode 2, I'm looking forward to. Yeah, like you mentioned, I think we'll see a lot more football, but the first padded practices happened on Monday and Tuesday, so I don't think we'll see any of that yet. I'm sure editing wrapped up Sunday night, maybe Monday, so I doubt we'll see that. But episode 3 will get us finally some hitting going on. But fun to watch. I'm looking forward to it, and we'll touch on maybe some of that more in our next episode. But Frost, unless you have anything else to add, I think we're good for this episode.
Hey, man, it was an awesome episode, and we'll just catch up with you guys in a little bit.
That's right. Stay safe, stay healthy. Keep it right here for everything you need to know with LA football, and we'll talk to you soon.